Good afternoon, everybody. This is Steve Fletcher with the Trumpet for My People. Today is November 8th, 2021. And as we are approaching the longest lunar eclipse of the 21st century, and then we have a total solar eclipse coming up also on December 4th, I want to take a look at this time frame and all of the signs that are coming together during this important biblical window. As we know, the Bible says that the day of the Lord will come after a blood moon eclipse and after a total solar eclipse. And we do not want to discount the importance of everything that is going to be happening starting on November 18th through the end of Hanukkah on December 6th. So I want to put some things together for you today in a very concise fashion, and I'm going to do this as quickly as I can just to save everybody as much time as possible, but we want to take a look at all of this information. Okay, so on November 18th and 19th, we have the longest lunar eclipse of the 21st century. Now, we cannot discount the fact that number one, in and of itself, a blood moon eclipse, this is a partial eclipse, and yet it is 97%. Okay? This is a 97% partial eclipse, meaning that for all intents and purposes, this is going to be a full blood moon from anywhere. Anywhere that is going to be visible, this is going to be a full blood moon. Okay, it is going to be seen as a full blood moon, even though it is a partial. But added to that is the fact that this is the longest lunar eclipse of the 21st century. We're talking about 224 eclipses that are going to be happening from the year 2000 to the year 2100. Of the 224 lunar eclipses, this is the longest. Okay, is there some type of a message that God is trying to send within this? This is a very important detail about this lunar eclipse that is coming up. Okay, so we do not want to look past this or take away from the validity of the importance of this eclipse coming up on November 18th and 19th. Okay, as we said, it's a 97% full moon eclipse, and that means it's going to be a blood moon eclipse anywhere it is seen. And this is going to be throughout all of the Americas, and Asia is a very wide window of those who are going to be able to see this. Basically everywhere except Africa and the Middle East. Everywhere else is going to be able to see this. Okay, now we also had, here's an interesting detail, the longest total lunar eclipse of the 21st century. This was the longest total lunar eclipse on July 27th, 2018. And what we have now on November 19th, 2021 is the longest lunar eclipse completely. The longest lunar eclipse of all the eclipses, partial and total together. This, for example, in July 27th of 2018 lasted 1 hour and 42 minutes. Well, this eclipse that is coming up on November 19th is going to last 3 hours and 28 minutes, which is 3.5 hours. Okay, is that another biblical sign within this? 3.5 times and half a time, 3.5 years, 3.5 hours, the longest lunar eclipse of the century. But I looked up this information. I was just curious to see how long it has been since the July 27th, 2018 total lunar eclipse which was the longest total lunar eclipse of the 21st century, and now we're coming up to the longest eclipse of all of the lunar eclipses on November 19th, 2021. And we have from July 27th, 2018 to November 19th, 2021, it's 1,211 days. Now that is extremely surprising to me when I looked this up and saw this, because we were watching last year, okay? We were watching December 14th of last year. We saw that between the two great American eclipses from August 21st, 2017 to April 8th, 2024, there's 2,422 days total, and the exact middle point of those two eclipses was December 14th, 2020. Not only was there a solar eclipse on that day, but it was the day Joe Biden was confirmed as president through the Electoral College, and it was the day of the first vaccinations in the United States. A key marker. That marker there was the beginning of the end of what is going to be now the worldwide vaccination mark of the beast. Okay? December 14th, 2020, 1,211 days. Well, we have from the November 19th, 2021, going back to the longest total lunar eclipse of this century, July 27, 2018. These two eclipses having this specific detail within them being the longest. Both of them having the title of the longest lunar eclipse. Okay? 1,211 days. Exactly as the 1,211 days in between the two great American eclipses. Okay? Now, 1,211 in the Strong's is to be used as to give emphasis of urgency to a statement. 1,211 is indeed or is now. It is used to give emphasis. Verily, verily, I say unto you, indeed, I say unto you, in a clause expressing demand, indeed, truly. 1,211 really with veracity. Okay? And unfortunately, it says 1,211 is often not even translated, even though it dramatically gives precision and emphasis to a command, implying that it is for a very special purpose and to be obeyed at the time. In other words, when they use it, they use the word like really or truly. And it doesn't give the emphasis that it should, but in reality, 1,211 in the Strong's is a very important word that gives emphasis, urgency to a statement, implying that it's for a special purpose to be obeyed at the time. 1,211 certainly strongly affirms what at last has become clear and now may be assumed as true, has passed through the needed process and can be fully relied upon. Thus, 1,211 conveys what is surely the case. Okay? 1,211 conveys what is surely the case. Okay? So if we go back from the longest lunar eclipse of the 21st century, of all the lunar eclipses, and we go back to the longest total lunar eclipse, July 27, 2018, it's 1,211 days, and 1,211 gives us the understanding that this has now become clear, can be assumed as true, has passed through the needed process, and can be fully relied upon. 1,211 conveys what is surely the case. Okay? Giving extreme urgency to the statement, it is for a special purpose and should be obeyed at the time. Okay? Very important details here within this. Now, Daniel 12:11. 12:11. This is going to be a connection to a biblical date, that this moon is coming on a biblical date, and look at how this is going to play out. Now, 1211 days. The meaning of 1211 in Daniel 12:11. From the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate shall be set up, there shall be 1,290 days. 1,290 days. So what do we get if we go from November 19th, 2021, and we add 1,290 days? It brings us to June 1st, 2025. And what would you say if I told you that June 1st, 2025 was Israel's 77th Pentecost? 70 weeks are determined. The 77th Pentecost is 70 plus 7 Pentecosts. 77 years, 77 weeks, 77 Pentecosts, and a complete fulfillment of the prophecies of Daniel to the 77th Pentecost of Israel from 1948. Now, how can we see the importance of this connection from November 19th, from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away and the abomination that maketh desolate is set up? There should be 1,290 days. November 19th, 2021, the day of the eclipse, is the 15th of Kislev. Okay, the 15th of Kislev. Now, what happened on the 15th of Kislev? On Kislev 15, Antiochus Epiphanes erected a statue of Zeus, but with his own face on top of the holy altar in the temple. Okay, so from the day of the abomination, there shall be 1,290 days. And November 19th is the day of the abomination that happened in the time of the Maccabees, 15th of Kislev. On 15th of Kislev, Antiochus Epiphanes erected a statue of Zeus, but with his own face on top of the holy altar in the temple. Now, 10 days later, on Kislev 25, on the birthday of Zeus, he offered a pig on this altar. He sprinkled its blood in the Holy of Holies and poured out its broth over the Torah scrolls before he cut them to pieces and burnt them. The temple was converted to a shrine to Zeus. Okay, so after the blood moon of Kislev 15, November 19th, 10 days later on Kislev 25, was the day that Antiochus offered a pig on the altar. This was the fulfillment of the abomination on the 25th day of Kislev. The abomination began on the 19th of November. It began on the 15th of Kislev. Okay? That was the day the abomination began. It was a 10-day process between erecting the altar in the temple and 10 days later offering a pig on the altar. There's a connection of Kislev 15 to Kislev 25, 10 days of the abomination. And so the actual abomination then was fulfilled on the 25th day of Kislev, which in 2021 is November 29th. Okay. Now, November 29th in Israel's history was the beginning of the rebirth of Israel from the Palestinian partition plan of 1947. The Palestine Plan of Partition, November 29th, 1947. Okay? November 28th and November 29th from 2013 was the arrival of Comet Ison. Comet Ison, the sign of the Son of Man, the coming of the Son, and the huge warning this was to the world of the return of Jesus Christ. Comet Ison. And the perihelion date of Comet Ison was in connection with the Palestinian partition plan. November 28th and November 29th was the big event day of Comet Ison. And we have the parable of the fig tree that gives us an understanding of one generation from the rebirth of Israel, as it is said in Psalms, 70 years. As it says in Daniel, 70 years. 70 weeks are determined from the order to restore Jerusalem. We have the understanding of a 70-year time frame, and we also have a parable that gives us 4 more years. Okay? So what do we have on November 29th, 2021? We have the fulfillment of the 70 years of Israel from 1947 to 2017, and then we have the 4-year parable of the unfruitful fig tree from Luke 13, 4 years of the fig tree. And so we have a connection between the 70 years and the 4 years, the 74 years. Now, if we take a look at these numbers in the Strong's Concordance, 70 is the number of sleeplessness and watching. Okay? As Paul says, he was in labors, in sleeplessness, in hunger, in watchings often, sleepless nights, 70. As everyone was woken up and began extreme watching starting in 2017 and 2018. This was the wake-up call, because this is the meaning of 70, sleeplessness and watching. And what is the meaning of number 4 in the Strong's? It's fruit. Isn't it interesting that the 4-year parable of the fig tree, and the fig tree was cut down in the 4th year because it had no fruit? 4 is the number of fruit. Okay? 70 plus 4, the meaning of 74. A contest, great fear. Properly, the feeling of the athlete before a contest, great fear, terror of death, anxiety, agony. Agony. Number 74, the brand of struggle that emphasizes felt pressure, experienced in intensely personal way. And this is used one time, Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. Being in agony, he was praying more earnestly. Being in agony, 74. Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. Okay. Now, before we move on, I want to share a very important video with you about the meaning of the number 74 and all of the biblical and numerical connections and the importance of the number 74 in the Bible. one more thing we want to remember and consider, that November 29th is day 333 of the year, and the Strong's Greek gives us the understanding that we should observe carefully. Be very careful, observe carefully. Day 333 of the year, the Palestinian partition plan, November 29th, 2021. And in this year of 2021, this is Kislev 25. This is the day of the Abomination of Antiochus Epiphanes. The other thing that we can see as we are connected to Kislev 25 and the first day of Hanukkah, November 29th, just as it is written in Haggai chapter 2, verses 21 and 22. This is speaking about the 24th day of the 9th month. Kislev 24, Hanukkah Eve, between November 28th and November 29th. This is the word that is spoken in Haggai chapter 2. Speak to Zerubbabel, governor of Judah, saying, I am about to shake the heavens and the earth, to overthrow the throne of kingdoms. I am about to destroy the strength of the kingdoms of the nations, and overthrow the chariots and their riders. The exact day is given for the shaking in Haggai chapter 2, the 24th day of the 9th month. And this is exactly what we are watching. On the Hebrew calendar, this year, November 29th, connected to the Palestinian partition plan, is the first day of Hanukkah. Hanukkah Eve and the first day of Hanukkah, between November 28th and November 29th, is the 24th day of the 9th month. And this is the time of the shaking given to us in Haggai chapter 2. Moving even beyond November 29th, the signs continue as we see that on December 4th, there's a total solar eclipse over Antarctica. Now, if there's anything we know about Antarctica, it is the sign of winter. Antarctica is winter. The South Pole is winter. Is this the sign of the coming winter? December 4th, 2021, total solar eclipse over Antarctica. Jesus said in Matthew 24:20, pray that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. Okay, and the sign of COVID-19, since COVID-19 began, that was the big thing that everybody was talking about. Vaccine expert warns darkest winter in modern history without national coordinated COVID-19 response. Okay. Darkest winter is coming. The dark winter. Winter is coming. Is this the sign of the winter that is going to begin during the time of Hanukkah? And the Hanukkah dates in 2021 in Israel are November 28th through December 6th. So the date this year of the Palestinian partition plan lands within Hanukkah. The date of the total solar eclipse lands within Hanukkah, between November 28th and December 6th. And if we remember that in 2017, as Israel was fulfilling 70 years, connected by 7 days to the Palestinian partition plan, 7 days after November 29th, 2017, was the declaration by Donald Trump that Jerusalem is and shall forever be Israel's eternal capital. December 6th, 2017. Okay. Corresponding this year to the last day of Hanukkah. Okay. So this could also be a connection, the 4-year sign from December 6th, 2017, leading us to the last day of Hanukkah, December 6th, 2021. And last but not least, okay, these two signs together may be the most important of everything together between the longest lunar eclipse of the 21st century on November 18th, which 97%, even though it is written as a partial eclipse, a 97% eclipse is going to be a blood moon. Okay? So don't be fooled by the fact that it's a partial eclipse. A 97%, anywhere you see this eclipse, is going to be a blood moon. And we have a total solar eclipse on December 4th. These two together in the same cycle, in the same lunar cycle, within 15 days of each other. Joel 2:31 says, "The sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord come." Okay, so we have signs for November 18th and 19th. We have signs for November 29th. We have signs for December 4th. And we have signs for December 6th, the end of Hanukkah. So this is a major watch time that is going to be coming up from November 19th through December 6th, especially focusing in around the time of Kislev 25 and the anniversary of the Palestinian partition plan on November 29th. Okay, whether it's November 19th, November 29th, December 4th, or December 6th, we have all of these signs that go together to 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 create and to give emphasis on this very important watch time that is going to be coming up. And so this is what I wanted to share with you and put all of these things together to give us understanding and clarity. And I pray you guys are blessed. This is Steve Fletcher with a trumpet for my people. The sign of his coming revealed.